Hello and welcome to part 2 of the video, the theme being the true identity of the weeds. This isn't the first and only time the governing body have made a misleading, erroneous statement on this matter. The Pure Worship Book, chapter 5, paragraph 8, says, "What meaning does Ezekiel's vision of the symbol of jealousy have for our day? Apostate Judah clearly reminds us of Christendom." Apostate Judah does not clearly remind us of Christendom at all. They've never practiced true worship. It's impossible. Now, what is depicted very well in chapter 5, please see that for yourself, is what does constitute apostasy, namely the disgusting things Judah were doing at Jehovah's temple, starting from paragraph 6. Point 1. The idolatrous symbol of jealousy, that's Ezekiel 8, verses 5 and 6. 2. 70 elders offering incense to false gods, Ezekiel 8, 7 to 12. 3. Women weeping over the god Tammuz, that's Ezekiel 8, 13 and 14. And point 4, 25 men bowing down to the sun, Ezekiel 8, 15 to 18. They completely contaminated pure worship of Jehovah by committing idolatry. That's apostasy. Christendom have never practiced true worship, so cannot be apostate. The governing body calling Christendom apostate is as ridiculous as calling an Alsatian dog a member of the cat family. Let's turn together again, please, to 2 Thessalonians 2, 3, 4 and 7. And it reads there, it says, "Let no one seduce you in any manner, because it will not come unless the apostasy comes first, and the man of lawlessness gets revealed, the son of destruction. He is set in opposition and lifts himself up over everyone who is called God, or an object of reverence, so that he sits down in the temple of the God, publicly showing himself to be a god." And verse 7, "True, the mystery of this lawlessness is already at work, but only till he who is right now acting as a restraint gets to be out of the way." Verse 7 states that this lawlessness is already at work. The apostasy was already at work at the time of the apostles. Christendom didn't exist for 200 to 300 years. Apostasy couldn't have been Christendom. Christendom aren't fulfilling 2 Thessalonians 2, 3 and 4. Those 8 men and their close helpers at Warwick HQ, New York are, to a T. These 2 videos have centered around Jesus' illustration of the wheat and the weeds, recorded in the Bible for our benefit at Matthew 13, 36 to 43. Let's read together, please, Matthew 13, 36 to 40. That's Matthew 13, 36 to 40. And it reads there, it says, "Then, after dismissing the crowds, he went into the house, and his disciples came to him and said, 'Explain to us the illustration of the weeds in the field.' In response, he said, 'The sower of the fine seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. As for the fine seed, these are the sons of the kingdom, but the weeds are the sons of the wicked one. And the enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is a conclusion of a system of things, and the reapers are angels. Therefore, just as the weeds are collected and burned with fire, so it will be in the conclusion of the system of things. The reason why the governing body are so keen to say that the weeds are Christendom is that it takes the spotlight off who the identity of the weeds really are, them. As Matthew 13:38 says, the field is the world. As for the fine seed, these are the sons of the kingdom, but the weeds are the sons of the wicked one. The governing body are the weeds, the children of the devil. They are the elephant in the room, and because of them, the entire brotherhood are being led by apostates, committing wittingly or unwittingly idolatry in the process. That's why it's a matter of life and death that one leaves the Jehovah's Witness religion, the religion, not Jehovah, immediately. Revelation 18:4-8 shows just how vital that is. Let's read that together. That's Revelation 18:4-8. Reads there, it says, "And I heard another voice out of heaven say, 'Get out of her, my people, if you do not want to share with her in her sins, and if you do not want to receive part of her plagues.'" So something is going on within the brotherhood which is so toxic that one has to get out. And that toxic thing that's happening is the governing body apostasy. For her sins have massed together clear up to heaven, and God has called her acts of injustice to mind. Render to her even as she herself rendered, and do to her twice as much, yes, twice the number of the things she did. In the cup in which he put a mixture, put twice as much of the mixture for her. To the extent that she glorified herself and lived in shameless luxury, to that extent give her torment and mourning. For in her heart she keeps saying, "I sit as queen, and I am no widow, and I shall never see mourning." That is why in one day her plagues will come, death and mourning and famine, and she will be completely burned with fire, because Jehovah God, who judged her, is strong. Because of the governing body apostasy, indoctrination, this will be, for many, absolutely impossible to accept. As the American writer Mark Twain once said, "It's easier to fool people than it is to convince them that they have been fooled." The reason for that? Pride. As Proverbs 16:18 says, "Pride is before a crash, and a haughty spirit before stumbling." If we don't get a handle on this, as we read at Revelation 18:4-8, we will crash. I'll leave you to prayerfully think about that, please. One of the many indoctrinations the governing body apostates use to control people, they're definitely a cult, is to get the brotherhood thoroughly convinced that the term governing body is scriptural. They base that on the circumcision issue at Acts 15. That will be my next video. In the meantime, please read Acts chapter 15 and see where the term governing body is and who actually were involved in that issue. So, again, Thank you very much for your time, and I hope to get that next video out very shortly. Thank you. All the best. Bye.